So if you could take some of those stereotypes, I mean, can you just like list them off and like tell me like we don't eat dogs, like we
or monkeys.
Sorry, monkeys. Yes, monkeys.
There's 30 of us in a house. What else? Other stupid crap that I've heard. God, I can't remember off the top of my head, but that we're not caring. We abandon our kids. Are you crazy? Do you know how my mother used to be with us? Oh my God. You better get your butt in this house at a certain time. There's certain things that I see, even on the news. I'm like, they're like, that the parents abandon their children at the border or something like that. And I was like, not a Latina. I was like, are you crazy? Do you know how we are with our kids?
Yeah.
Like, you can't do anything without us.
Yeah.
Most times, you can't. We're not just letting you go anywhere. We're not letting you spend the night at just anyone's house. I mean, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So for me to see that, these kids are being abandoned by their parents, that's I could promise you that's BS. They were taken away from their parents. I promise you. Because no Latino is going to leave their baby. I can promise you that. We don't do that kind of stuff.
Right.
Unless they're hardcore drug addicts, whatever, they won't do that. And most people that are coming from there over here aren't there for that. They're broke, they're poor, they're being abused, they're living in horrid conditions, and that's why they're coming over here. They're thinking that the grass is greener on this side, and even them. Oh, it's just so hard. I just get so fired up behind it. But
yeah, and I think the devastating thing that I keep finding too is how much hatred people are met with once they get here too. I mean, obviously, as you're sitting here telling me about your experiences and the way that people have been kind of passive aggressively nasty to you, that it's like, man, how do people survive this? How do they come to this country looking for something better only to be met with that kind of grossness, I guess? It's devastating. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Or even when you're met with someone and I look like this, so they don't think that I have any form of education sometimes.
Yeah.
Because the way they treat me at first is like, do I look like a dumbass to you? Do you think that I can't comprehend what you're saying?
Right.
And I do have an accent. I've got the whole East Coast accent at times, and English is my second language. So, at times I'll say things that are backwards because in Spanish culture, it's like that. Our words are backwards from,
Yep.
So I'll do that. And I guess they misconstrue it for me. I'm able to comprehend what people are trying to say to me.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story you'll probably appreciate. I had a professor from Taiwan who was wonderful and hilarious. And she told me this story one time about how some man had come up to her and was like, wow, you speak English really well. And she was like, I speak 4 languages.
Okay.
Didn't say that to him, but she goes, I got really short with him and said, oh, so do you only speak 1 language?
Oh, good for her.
I know, right? And then she said he was actually really sweet after that, and she said he felt kind of bad. But I mean, for you to sit here and talk about English as your second language, good Lord, you speak beautifully. So you speak better English than a lot of people I hear speak English who are native.
I noticed that too.
Yeah. So, you should be very proud of that because there are so few people out there who can fluently speak more than 1 language. And like I said, most people can't fluently speak 1 language. So,
right. And it's funny because now being here and, growing up speaking predominantly English because, you go to school and that's what everyone speaks and what have you. So you lose a lot of your language.
Yeah.
And unless you practice it on a normal basis, like I did with my mother, of course, I spoke to her in Spanish mainly because she spoke to me in Spanish, but she was speaking a lot more English. A lot of people didn't understand it because she had a heavy accent.
Yeah.
But so I just feel like people can learn from each other. and grow from learning from another person, and they choose to like just be cruddy. I don't understand that. You want to feel like you're above someone when you could be learning so much from that person. It's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad. But you know what? I'm exhausted trying to explain that. Like we could do so much better if we all just like kept an open mind on who other people are, you know? I want to learn as much as possible. I have a coworker that he's Muslim, and I studied religion in college, but I don't know everything, you know what I mean? So I asked stuff about, because it's Ramadan right now, so he can't, eat throughout the day. And he's like, I think I'm gonna take a week off because I just don't feel good. And I feel like, this is weighing on me. And I'm like, but why? So I'm asking questions. I'm like, instead of just like, don't eat or go get you a burger, you know what I mean? Or, and not respecting why he's doing this, I ask questions,
Yeah.
People were to come with an open mind and literally ask without being a douche about it.
Yeah.
Or not condescending, or, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. Because you get that, you feel it, you have that thing. Everyone has that thing in them that they know when it's not a genuine concern or question.
Yeah.
And being one that has been confronted with that a lot, I noticed it like right off the bat, it's like, you don't really want to know, you're just trying to be nice, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really unfortunate. I've done some traveling myself. I actually went to see my Derby wife, and she lived in Thailand for a year. And so he's now my husband, then boyfriend, and I and some friends of mine from Chicago went to go visit her and her family in Thailand, and that was the best thing I could have experienced. And I've traveled to I've been to Mexico, I've been to, Dominican Republic, places like that. But actually being in the culture, and, we stepped off the airplane and there was product called Snail White, and they put whiteners in everything so that their skin can appear lighter. Because, if your skin is light, that means you're not a member of the working class. Yeah, and
there's colorism over there.
There is definitely colorism. I mean, you could see,
there's colorism in my culture too, though.
Is there? I know it in Mexico too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's colorism big time I'll give you a good story. So my grandmother and my grandfather. My grandmother's very light skinned, very light skinned. My grandfather, on the other hand, is very dark with straight hair. My mother looks exactly like her father. Mm-hmm. And so do like two of my aunts. All three of them look like triplets, I swear. You see them all, you would think they were triplets, right?
Yeah.
So the story behind my grandmother and my grandfather was that when my grandmother and my grandfather married, they disowned my grandmother because she married a black man. So
wow.
Oh no, that's a fact. That's a fact. And that was crazy to me, but yeah. So my mother, when my grandfather and my grandmother broke up, my grandmother couldn't afford to feed everybody. And she sent my mother to go live with her father. And he abused my mother like nobody's business because she was dark skinned.
Oh my gosh.
So there's horrible colorism even in our culture.
Yeah.
It's so crazy how this all works out, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I remember even in the Dominican Republic where, they talked about, the Haitians here are like Mexicans are in America, which, you would see little Haitian villages, not even villages, they were like shanties, which was really heartbreaking. It's just people looking for work. And so if you think about, especially, again, going back to the hurricane that went through Puerto Rico, that, there's so much devastation and they're not getting the resources that they need to rebuild.
At all.
And
even till today,
right.
Even till today, they're still not living in the conditions that they should be living in. Being Americans, that really just kills me. Not that any of us are surprised, to be honest with you, because we've always been second-class citizens anyway.
Yeah.
So, but unfortunately, there's so much corruption in Puerto Rico that that's just how it's been. Unfortunately, there's so much corruption, but America doesn't really care. I'm going to be honest with you, because if not, they would have been. You own us. Why not go ahead and you own the country? Why not do something about it? Why? Because they're not. I'm sorry, I hate to say it like that, but I feel it's because they're not white. They're not 100% white folks, and it's not important to them. It's just not. I just hate to say it that way. And it was made blatant and true as soon as Trump stepped into office that we really aren't important. I mean, look at how he called Haiti and Puerto Rico and some of the other places shithole countries, So we're a shithole place, according to them, and we're not worthy of it.
Yeah.
It's sad. And it's such a beautiful place. I used to go there every summer as a kid.
Yeah.
For like 3-4 summers. Since I was like 11 to 14 or something like that, I went to Puerto Rico every summer with my aunt.
Yeah.
It's just a gorgeous place, and they just mistreated. Like we're not worthy.
Yeah, that's really heartbreaking.